What's up, guys? We are so excited for episode 16 of the Babes Talking Business podcast. You guys are going to absolutely love this episode because we have Lucy Jackson and Nikki Westcott, collectively known as We the Wild Ones, on the show. And their story starts many years ago studying marketing at university in Northern Queensland and soon becoming best mates through their job with Red Bull. Yes, they were those crazy chicks fist pumping outside of the Red Bull Mini. So from there, they described both valuing next level company culture and learnt to really think and dream big. And so they decided to take a team of 10 out to Joshua Tree in the beautiful desert of California to shoot and film their very first Jagger and Stone campaign. They described making Jagger and Stone for the bad girls, the girls that are always the last to leave the party and the girls who never let an early night get in the way of a good story. They describe their partnership, their style, their personalities, much like yin and yang, and although they're totally different, they still share the same interests and values and passions for their business and for what they want to create through their brand Jagger and Stone. Don't forget, guys, you can follow us on Instagram and keep up to date with all of our podcast episodes by heading over to @BabesTalkingBusiness, and we do a shout out of the week every week. All you've got to do is leave us a review on the iTunes app. Let us know what you think about this episode, and don't forget to leave your Instagram handle so that we can tag you and share you with our community as well. You can also check out our beautiful website at www.babestalkingbusiness.com, where we have loads more information about Babes Talking Business and upcoming events. And last but not least, you can also listen or watch our episodes on our YouTube channel. All of the links for these are below in the podcast notes and on our website as well. So without further ado, we are so excited to introduce to you this total badass duo, Lucy and Nikki from We the Wild Ones.
To have the beautiful Lucy and Nikki on the Babes Talking Business vlogcast today. How are you, ladies?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. My voice just went so high pitched.
We don't have Shen on the line today. Shen's actually in flight in LA, but I was like, we wanted you girls on the show so bad. I felt like we've been going back and forth for so long trying to get you on. So I was like, let's just go ahead and do it. So, yay, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Get us a drink.
Yeah. You've already had a productive morning. You were just saying you worked out twice this morning?
We did. That's not that often.
We don't do that very regularly, but we had a bit of a slack start to the week, so we thought today we're going to do a cheeky double up.
Your girls are awesome. And so for those who don't know, they've probably been stalking your pages. They might know you from We Are the Wild Ones on Instagram. We the Wild Ones on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you've recently just launched your label as well, Jagger and Stone, which is sexy as. I'm absolutely loving it.
Thank you.
And I always love asking, because lots of women, like I said, the reason behind this podcast is because women are seeing other girls doing some pretty cool things on social media, which I know is predominantly how you've built your business, but they don't get to see the beautiful story behind the brand. So I'd love to know, for those who maybe don't know, what inspired you ladies to start Jagger and Stone?
I guess we were both working in the fashion industry, and we had this amazing platform, that we had like a following on, and we thought, we were both in marketing roles for other fashion labels where we were. Sorry, the boys in the office are just popping their heads in.
Making sure we had a microphone. They're so cute.
So cute.
But yeah, so we just kind of thought, I always wanted to start a brand and start my own business. And so once Nick and I kind of had this amazing following, it was just kind of like the natural step, I guess.
Yeah. We get asked all the time about like our festival fashion and just what we're wearing and stuff anyway. So we kind of thought, let's do our own.
Yeah.
And we were sick of wearing boho clothes to festivals, and there was like no kind of really cool stuff in the market that we wanted. We saw a bit of a gap, so we just kind of like, let's do it. Like, things that are like really cool but still like sexy enough that they kind of appeal to like a festival goer.
Yeah, for sure.
Sheer, see through, you know.
I love your style. I've been following your journey for a while now. And so because you girls obviously had your own Instagram page, We the Wild Ones, and you were just getting dressed up, snapped, and getting wild, which is awesome. I know that was your motto. Did you have an intention behind that when you started sharing what you're up to? Like, was the intention to build that following, or just did that organically happen for you ladies?
Bit of both, yeah.
Yeah. I think initially we had no idea, like we started with the Wild Ones, it'll be 3.5 years ago now. I think when we started it, we always thought ideally we'd love to get some free clothes out of this. But I don't think we'd ever had in our heads that it would long-term end up being our full-time jobs, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it was kind of like, ideally we'd love to grow, and then when you get to a certain point, you're like, oh wow, this is kind of like what we do now. So then you make it like your mission to keep growing it.
It was funny, both working full time and then slowly seeing how busy it was getting, and having to be like, oh, can we work one less day a week? Just gradually having to put more time into it, because the more you put in, the more you get out.
100%. Yeah. It doesn't just, unless you've got some amazing, blogger friends who just boost you, it doesn't happen without a lot of effort, and it is commitment. Yeah, the more you do put in, the more you do get out.
Yeah, for sure. Because when you started, I know you girls both started, you're studying marketing at uni. Is that how, when you were studying marketing at uni, did you have a vision of, I'm going to do business? Did you know what you wanted to do, or you just kind of did it?
Instagram wasn't around when we went to uni. That's how old we are. No, Instagram just started when we were at uni, but no one was Insta famous then.
You literally just used it for filters. Yeah. You're ooh, cool filter.
So I guess Insta famous people kind of started to come around when we'd already kind of gone into the full-time workforce. Nick was working in advertising and I was working in fashion. And so we'd kind of a few girls that we even know that we're still friends with were kind of doing it. And we were I was, sending this girl that we knew from home bikinis, Emily. And I was like, what the hell? I want free clothes for me. So how can we make that happen?
And so how did you make that happen? What was the strategy? Just keep, obviously some people who don't understand social media, they just think you just every now and then take a pretty photo and you upload it, and that's kind of how it happens. So what's the strategy behind it? Because I know you said the more you put in, the more you get out, and you slowly built that following around your full-time jobs as well. So what did that look like for you girls in the early stages?
I'm just putting us on live, just FYI, on our Instagram while we film the podcast, because I thought this would be a cool thing for
I love it
to see. Sorry, so ask that question again.
So for a lot of people who don't really understand Instagram, they think that maybe people who are building their business on Instagram or social media just take a nice pretty snap every now and then, and their business just organically builds. So for those who maybe don't know, what did the early stages of your business look like? So I know you mentioned you were working full-time jobs, and obviously the more that you put in, the more you got out. So what did that look like for you girls behind the scenes in the early days?
I think in the early days it was just really fun. And we actually were living apart at that time. At that point, I was in Sydney, Nick was in Brisbane. So that was a challenge. And so every time we still saw each other all the time. So every time we'd see each other, we'd have to try and get a couple of good photos together. And it
was kind of good because then we'd be motivated. We'd just sort of do a full shoot or something, and then have so much content. So while we weren't together, we still had lots of photos. But yeah, we were just keen beans.
Yeah, we were so keen, and it was so fun. And then as time went on, we a few little things would kind of pop up. So a festival would reach out to us and be do you guys want some free tickets, for example? And so that would then be an incentive to create more content based on that. So it was all it was all very fun at the beginning.
And when we first launched, we launched at Splendor in the Grass. So straight away, I guess our following was people seeing us going to festivals. So we sort of knew what people wanted to see from us as well.
Yeah. Awesome. But yeah, it was hard. It was so fun and so that it didn't seem hard with full-time jobs at the beginning, because it was just like whenever we were getting, you know, partying together or going to an event or whatever, or we just like do a shoot, upload the pictures, and then that would be it. But then it kind of, I think it got really hard when we kind of like when we made the decision to pursue it. That was when the challenges really started of like, okay, now we're actually getting paid to do something. We kind of can't just be pissed taking a photo.
Sure you can.
You know what I mean? So I think that was when it was really, really fun, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like some big challenges, not challenges.
No, it just kind of got like
more serious.
Yeah, you got to start taking it a lot more seriously, like as your job. And especially like when you make the decision to kind of like sacrifice your full-time
career,
divine pay packet.
Yeah, to pursue it.
Yeah.
And what inspired that decision? Like, what made you guys kind of like, all right, like, let's take this seriously. Let's like really ramp this up. Like, was there something that happened to you that kind of made you make that decision or inspired you to take that step?
We both went traveling last year, which regardless of like what we were doing for We the Wild Ones, we both kind of had to not leave our jobs, but like, you know, put in months and months, like get a big chunk of time off. So I think that was like a real like, you know, line in the sand of like, we were leaving our jobs anyway.
Yeah, commit now. But even before that, like, you know, if you do this, you've got to be so flexible. And it would be like constantly like someone would be like, oh, girls, do you want to come to Bali next week? And we would have to go, oh my God, can we even get the time off? Like it was pretty hard. So like you kind of end up sacrificing a lot of opportunities as well, like if you don't have a flexible work schedule.
Yeah, it's a lot about timing. It's a lot about being able to kind of just roll with opportunities as they come through. And because we were both in full-time jobs that were also, we weren't just, you know, working at a casual kind of job. Like we both had like proper careers where we had responsibilities and people relied on us and things like that. You just kind of got to the point where you felt so bad about continuously like letting your team down and being like, sorry guys, off to Bali, like sorry guys, off to Coachella, and you know your team's just there like, what? So that was kind of that kind of really impacted it too, because you didn't want to like continuously like let your job down, especially because we loved our jobs.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you want to be putting in just as much effort and like without being distracted or anything. So
yeah. I know a lot of girls who listen to our podcast are girls who have their own side hustle. They are trying to build their own businesses, and they're in that kind of gap where like, okay, well, I'm kind of trying to juggle full-time work and I'm trying to get this passion project off the ground. Did you slowly taper your hours down? Did it just kind of get to a point you're like, I've got to do this?
Yeah. Slowly. And I would recommend doing that if you can. Like,
if you can, yeah.
Yeah, if you just, like I sort of ended up leaving my job, went to another job, which was
3 days
a week, and then slowly it just kind of got less and less.
Yeah. Awesome. And so I know you mentioned before, Lucy, that you were saying that when you kind of made that leap, that's when the challenges started to come. And I really love on this channel that we try to be as real and raw as we can. So what were some challenges that came up for you guys? Because I know on social media it's just all glorified. People just think it's all awesome, it's all rainbows and sunshine. We'd love to know, what are some challenges that you girls have had to face and how did you overcome them?
Well, firstly, like a challenge was like leaving our jobs because we loved them so much. That was a huge challenge. Like I really struggled to leave my old job, not because I liked getting paid a lot or anything, but just because I really enjoyed it. And then going to this like kind of world where all of a sudden, you know, you don't need to be anywhere at a certain time. You kind of really, it's like a lot of self-motivation.
Yeah.
Which is a huge challenge.
And I think because, like, when you've worked for so long, you know, like we've been to uni, we've worked for a long time, like, you have so much time in the day, you kind of, like, you constantly want to be doing stuff. Like, even though we work for ourselves now, we probably work harder than ever.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, there are a lot of younger influencers now that kind of have just, like, left school and then this has been all they've done or all they've known. So they don't care. They wake up when they want. They take one photo and they're satisfied with that. But, like, we've come from, you know, jobs where we were working, like 10-hour days and stuff. So now for us, we really struggle to kind of be like, oh, fuck, we need to, like, fill our time, you know, and make sure we're being super productive. So we found that challenging, making sure we were kind of like using our time as best we could. And now that we've kind of come along, and now that we have We the Wild Ones and Jagger, it's good because now we've got two big projects to fill our time, whereas just being like bloggers kind of wasn't enough to really like actively fill our time.
Yeah.
For us personally.
For us
other
personally,
people,
yeah.
You can definitely do it.
And we love doing this. You know, now we have an office and there's a lot more structure to what we do, whereas, you know, when we first kind of left and were just doing We the Wild Ones and we were kind of behind the scenes working on Jagger, we didn't have an office. We were working from home. You know, our boyfriends have really flexible work hours too, so we were constantly being distracted by people coming and going from the house.
Or we'll just be like working in like cafes with Wi-Fi, and they're like, oh, it's time to go, like kicking us out. We're like, oh, sorry. Just like anywhere in Burley that would take us.
So we found, so I guess that was a big challenge. And then, I mean, it was an awesome challenge though. Like, you know, we were like leaving our jobs to go and have this amazing, you know, life of travel. But then I guess once you take that leap in taking it a lot more seriously and it becomes your full-time job, you do become a lot more susceptible to like, oh my God, you know, we only grew like 50 followers this week. So all of a sudden there's like, you know, it went from being this fun passion hobby to all of a sudden it's like, you know, that's how you make a living. It's your pride and joy. So we found that as soon as we kind of left our jobs, we just instantly put so much more pressure on the blog and what we were doing, and we was kind of like, oh my God, you know, like we were like, our photos suck, like, oh my God, our content sucks, like blah, blah, blah.
You have your ups and your downs.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge. What are some other challenges?
I don't want to do my makeup on my hair today. This sucks.
Oh, yeah, we hate doing our makeup and our hair too, so we'd always be like, oh, we could get some content today, or we could just go and sit at a cafe and like do emails.
And we're both so terrible at makeup and hair. Like we always laugh. We have two other best friends and they're like, you know, really like put together girls, and we're like, shit, it should be like the opposite because we suck.
They should be the bloggers, but we somehow are. But yeah, we get our hair and makeup done a lot now, so that's good.
That's good. And so what advice, it's funny that you touched on that, because I know personally a lot of the girls that we mentor in business as well, it's like they want their passion project, that side hobby, to be their full-time job. But once it becomes their full-time job, it really does come down to self-discipline, and how you actually make it continue to work without that time pressure, because you start having all the time in the day. So what are some tips and tricks or even advice you could give to listeners now that they are doing this full-time? How do you kind of use your time wisely?
Get an office. It will, or like a dedicated
set up a space where you work.
Yeah.
Like, don't do it on your bed and your laptop. Like, just be really like differentiated a little bit.
Yeah, like have a space that's like your dedicated work spot.
Yeah.
Because that will change it significantly.
Plan ahead. Like we find like doing like a weekly plan, it's so good. Even like with our exercise, we've been doing it. We're like, woo, this rocks.
Try and be as like, if you can have like a nice weekly plan of like the goals you want to achieve like within a week, or the projects you even want to like start within the week, I think that's always a good way to do it. What else? What was the question again?
For girls who are doing this full time now, how do you help with the self-discipline, or what are some tips and tricks you give to make sure you're using your time wisely? So I know a lot of girls, they want it so bad, then they get their day and like, and they kind of fluff around for 3 or 4 hours.
Let's go to the beach instead. Another thing would be we find that works well for us is trying to like stick to like the normal work hours. So like we come into the office at like 8:39 and usually leave. Well, sometimes we leave at like 7 o'clock at night because we're still working, but we still try and like make sure that we're not coming in unless we have something specific that we've committed to. We don't just come in at 10 just because we can. We always still come in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is a good way to start your day.
I love that. And with the second one too, because I know you mentioned another challenge was now that your passion is also what pays your bills, how do you kind of make sure it stays fun? Because I know it's easy to fall in that trap of, I've got to do this and I've got to do this because it is paying my mortgage or it's what's putting the food on my table this week. So how do you kind of keep it inspiring and fun for you ladies?
That's hard for us because what we do is so fun,
Yeah.
you know, like.
If we ever have one of those moments, we're lucky that we have each other as well, because you can just be like, put your head in, this is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And, like, partying and enjoying ourselves is a big part of, like, what we've created, I guess. But
We're lucky that we've built our brand to, like, be able to go and have a bit of fun.
yeah. But no, there are times when it gets really stressful, and I guess to keep it fun, one thing I guess I've personally really kind of adapted to since we've launched Jagger. You know, we've had some like pretty wild challenges thrown our way, and I think one thing that you just have to do is literally you just have to roll with the punches. Like you can't get really, really stressed over what could potentially happen, because all you'll do is be stressed and it won't be fun anymore. Like we had something come up quite recently where it was like, you know, we could have sat there being really, really, really stressed, and we could still be stressed about it because it's kind of like an, you know, open-ended issue, which we won't go into that specific issue, but it's, you know, instead of being stressed about it, we're just like, oh, well, if that day does come where that does become an issue, we'll just
deal with it when it
adapt.
comes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adapt, be ready to change, be ready to learn. Yeah. Roll with the punches.
And then that way you'll keep having fun, because otherwise if you just get too caught up on the stress of that, you won't be having fun. But, yeah.
I love that. And you girls are mentioning too, like, I think we're our worst critics some days. Like, although other people really appreciate our work and obviously the brand that you create, I know you met some days you're like, oh, that was shit, or we only got this many followers. So what do you girls do, or what's like your support network around you that you kind of help to make sure that you aren't being too hard on yourself and you've got a really awesome supportive team around you to pick you up on those days? Do you have pivotal people around you to help?
We're so hard on ourselves, honestly. I will honestly say Nikki's a lot more positive than I am in that way.
But as soon as I become negative, which, you know, God help you, Lucy's like, no, you're not thinking like that. Like, it's kind of good to have each other, because literally if we're both sitting there slopping around, like...
Yeah. But we are our own worst critics, and like you said, but it is, I think it's definitely each other. Like, I'd like to say our boyfriends, but, like, I don't think they really know enough about what
sometimes
goes on.
They'll be like, what's up? I'm like, honestly, too long to go into.
But, no, it's good, because I think one thing that we always just remind ourselves on when we're having those days, when we're being really self-critical, is, like, the other day, for example, I said to Nikki, like, 1 year ago, and, like, I brought up this, like, particular event that I was at 1 year ago, and Nick was still traveling a year ago, and we spoke about that, and we're like, wow, in 12 months, you know, this is how far it's come. So it's like you just remind each other of those kind of times. Yeah.
And just even, like, if we're pretty good at, like, if we're feeling down about something, we'll just literally be like, okay, now how can we fix that? Like, and try and actually put a plan in to make it change or make us feel better about it or whatever.
Yeah.
And we also have some other, like, good friends, like other influencer friends, and honestly it helps to talk to other people about it as well.
Yeah.
That, like, understand too. So,
yeah.
So ask
like,
yourself.
That sucks.
Yeah,
the Instagram algorithm. It's always nice to know that you're not alone in these challenges.
Yeah, so surrounding yourself with people who kind of are on the same journey, who get you, and asking yourself some better questions as well. Sounds like that helps you guys a lot. Building business online, obviously it's a beautiful space where you've got people who are lifting you up and love your work and celebrating you, but have you come across haters or trolls, and how do you deal with them?
Fucking oath, we have.
We never had that problem in our lives, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah. How do you deal with them? Honestly, it all depends on the circumstance. If it's just like one particular person or one troll, again, just being able to talk to each other about everything is always good. Like, whenever we have these challenges, and, you know, we've had a few, I just think, fuck doing this on your own. Like, honestly, because even if you do it on your own, even if you have someone who, like a partner or something that is like, oh, you know, that sucks. It's like, yeah, but it's not your business. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's literally our business together. So it's, you know, that each other are genuinely going through the same journey.
You really feel it together.
But again, all we usually do when we have any kind of bad, negative juju is just like
kill them with kindness,
Be
ignore
nice.
it.
go and
Yeah.
have a vino. And again, it all depends on, like, we can handle hate towards We the Wild Ones, that's fine, but it's more like when it comes to Jagger, which is like now our like baby, it's kind of like, you can talk shit about us, but don't talk shit about our business. Do you know what I mean? So that can be challenging. But again, we just usually talk it out, have a glass of wine.
Yeah. Just don't take it too seriously as well, because like sometimes people say if you're trolling someone online, that kind of says more about that person than it does about what they're attacking you for, I think. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of like, never be that person. Never be that crazy.
Never be that person. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
one thing that, you know, these like certain like negative experiences or trolls or, you know, people saying awful things to you or whatever has really taught us, and that, and like I'm really proud of us in this particular regard, is that every time one of those things happens to us, we just make it even more of a mission for us to never be like that kind of a person. And it's probably teaching us some really wise lessons in our early days, like, because we've copped a few different things, and now we would just never, ever, ever do what has been done to us to anyone ever. So
almost like learn from others. Like, not that they probably don't think they're making a mistake, but like, yeah, learn from it.
Yeah.
Grow from it.
You learn
Yes.
what you stand for and who you want to be and who you don't, hey, just by how
Exactly.
others make you feel.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I love, when I was reading your bio as well on your website, you describe your friendship as yin and yang. How is it to work with each other? How do you complement each other? How do you do you have challenges working as a partnership, or how does that work?
no, it's so easy.
Yeah, like yin yang in a good way. It literally just works.
And like we said, it's like we're yin and yang in our personalities, but in terms of like our work, we've got like really
the same
similar
page.
work ethics, which is good. Like we're both like really hard workers. Like I could never be in business with someone that was like an absolutely slacko. And Nick's not at all. She's an amazing hard worker, but we have like different traits that we bring to the business, and like we said, when one of us is having a bad day, the other one can probably usually turn it around, and vice versa. So,
But in terms of like a vision, like even planning shoots and stuff, we'll find that we're usually like pretty much bang on the same page, which is very helpful, because I feel like if you're like having massive creative differences,
Like
that's when you
conflict,
butt
yeah.
heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're pretty lucky in that regard.
Yeah. And what's the vision going forward for you guys and your brand? How can everyone else who's maybe tuning in support you?
well,
Shop
just
online.
shop online. Give us a little
Give us a cheeky
follow
follow.
on Jagger. That's where like people always say, how can I know this? How can I know that? And realistically, the first platform where we put every kind of bit of information is always going to be the Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, stay tuned. We have some really cool stuff coming out. We've got another collection dropping before Christmas, and
something exciting in January as well.
yeah, big collaboration dropping in Jan. So that'll be really exciting.
Yeah. I'll make sure we drop the links to your girls' pages in the show notes too, so all our readers and listeners can find you. Before we finish, I'd love to ask, what advice would you give to any other women who are tuning in who maybe not necessarily want to create a brand, but they've got a vision or they're working as a side hustle on a passion project? What advice would you give them from your journey and the lessons you've learned over the last few years?
We probably got different advice. I would say start today. Like start now, and don't like sit on an idea for too long because someone else will do it, or so just start working on it now.
Yeah.
That's my advice. What about yours?
Ask for help as well. Like if you're, doing something and you just feel like you're not, like that you're a bit stuck or something, and you maybe like are getting a little bit less motivated or whatever, like talk to people about it. Like don't be so like...
Don't be too proud to ask for advice.
Like ask for advice, ask for help, even just talk to people about it, because like we keep saying, we're so lucky that we've got each other, but if you did do it by yourself, I could see that would be super scary and intimidating.
And just, I think too, like just lock in plans that make you commit.
Set goals,
Like-
set timelines.
Commit to things so that there's no backing out, because I feel like that fear of wanting to do it but maybe just not being able to push through, it's like an idea in your mind. Just do make some kind of like commitment to it, like whether it's starting the Instagram page or announcing it to your friends and family or something that makes you kind of see it through.
Because become like a bit accountable.
I think that'll definitely make a difference. And
enjoy the ride.
Enjoy
don't
the
be
ride.
too serious. We literally started out getting pissed every weekend, so anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And what's another one? No idea is a silly like idea or concept. So if you've got a cool idea, and you think it can work, honestly, it probably can, because, you know, a few years ago I thought only like big businesses own fashion labels, but now, you know, anyone can do it. You just need to be able to learn and roll with the punches and
roll with those punches.
Roll with the punches. Say fuck the haters. Fuck the haters.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ladies, for jumping on and just being real and raw. It's so good to hear the story and the beautiful faces behind the brand, although we see it all the day on Instagram. But I love it. And happy Friday. I hope you get to treat yourself to a wine today.
Oh, we will.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We hope you loved that episode of the Babes Talking Business vlogcast. Guys, we're just loving bringing you these episodes. Our mission is to share and add value to your week, whether you're a budding entrepreneur or you're a veteran in the owning your own business game. Don't forget, if you're loving our podcast, we would love for you to rate us and drop us some love on the iTunes app, because we want to know your feedback. We want to know what you're thinking. Once a week, one lucky reviewer will be shouted out on our Instagram. So when you leave us some feedback on the iTunes app, don't forget to include your Instagram handle and or your website so that we can shout you out. Guys, you can follow us on Instagram by going to @BabesTalkingBusiness. You can check out our website at www.babestalkingbusiness.com. And this podcast is actually a vlogcast as well, meaning you can watch each and every single interview by heading over to our YouTube channel. All the links for all of these are below in the podcast notes and on our website as well. Thanks for tuning in.